Feisties, you're probably already thinking about your 2026 goals. Maybe it's pinning on a race number, hanging strong on that one group ride that's really always a race, or finally tackling an epic cycling adventure. Whatever your goal, it starts this winter. Our Feisty Winter Training for Cyclists is a 16-week group coaching program for women who want to train smart, ride strong, and thrive together. Led by Coach Serena Bishop-Gordon, the program kicks off December 1st and runs through March 31st. You'll get structured rides, weekly strength sessions, and expert-led education that explains the why behind your training. You'll learn how your body adapts, how to fuel it well, and how to make training fit your life, not the other way around. You'll also be part of a supportive community that gets it, where you can ask questions, share wins, and laugh through the tough workouts together. So this winter, let's lay the right foundation, build your strength, confidence, and community, and have a lot of fun doing it. To join Winter Training for Cyclists, go to feisty.co and look for the yellow banner at the top of the page. To save $50, use the code TRY50, TRI50, all one word, TRY50, to save $50 at feisty.co. All right, welcome, Feisties. It's Kelly. I'm here with Joanne and Katie, and we have a special guest this week. You know her, you love her. Alyssa has come back to update us on everything she's been doing. How are you, Alyssa?
Hi, I'm really excited to be here, and I'm excited to be sitting in the guest chair to get to chat that way with you all. But yeah, I'm good. Just super excited to be back in Feisty land.
I know Joanne and Katie are ready to grill you.
We're ready for her to take over the hosting chair again.
Alyssa, I told you before we got on that I've been asking everybody, out of all the races this year, like, what's your favorite performance? What would you pick as best performance of the year so far?
So this is totally cheating and kind of stepping a little bit ahead into something else you were going to talk about. But I just got super excited this weekend watching Happy Valley 70.3 and Feisty's own Lydia Russell taking the win there. Like, I have to say, even if I wasn't biased towards being in the Lydia Russell fan club, I mean, that performance, I was just scrolling through Times to be like, exactly how did she beat Chelsea Sodaro and Jeannie Metzler, right? I mean, she outran these women by like 6 minutes, right? So
we're good runners, yeah.
Yeah. And so I just think to see someone who, you know, doesn't have tons of long course experience, right? Like she's raced a couple times this year, and to find her form like that quickly and to be racing confident like that, I think is like really, really cool to see. And I think it goes to show that we are developing the young women really well right now, right? I mean, this is exciting.
I do have to go plug. She's going to join us next week on the podcast. So
little teaser there. Yeah. Everyone get ready.
Yeah, no, I will say when I saw that, like, because we have like little messages between all the Feisty people, and usually it's like, hey, good job. Mine was all just like, holy shit, in all caps was my message. So.
Well, and I guess the tracker wasn't really updating her. She didn't have a tracker or something. So I know, so my father-in-law was actually racing there. And so my mother-in-law was on the ground, like spectating, and she actually ran into, by chance, Lydia's mom. And they were trying to get information about like what was going on, and they heard Chelsea was in the lead, but then like all of a sudden they see Lydia go by and they're like, she's already done a loop with a run or something. So there was apparently like a lot of chaos happening. And luckily Lydia's mom did see that happen because she was able to get to the finish line in time to see this big win, right? But yeah, I mean, I think it's really cool. I'm excited to listen to next week's episode when she talks a little bit more about it.
And Katie, you pointed out she's also still doing short course. Because I know you keep your eye on all that. I will tell you, Super Try CEO guy today asked me about young up and coming female Americans, and I did give her a shout out. But there's quite a few young up and coming.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm interested because she's on like the Montreal. She's definitely on the Montreal start list, and start lists are so funny because like she may not even be planning on racing it, but it will be very cool if she's like simultaneously doing both and doing it really well, because she started in short course and just Alyssa said, just started like doing the longer distances.
Was this her third pro race?
Yeah.
That's insane.
I know. Yeah.
But she also had, I think,
No, she used to race short course. Yeah, you're right. Like as like a U23 elite.
Yeah, but look at the. I'm going to say the word balls, but look at the guts it took to overtake a world champion in her in a race in her third Ironman 70.3 pro race. Like that.
Well, I think
takes
that's
some
what
guts.
you nailed it with, like saying the confidence she raced with is like really stands out.
And I think probably short course racing has given her, a bit of that confidence to be. I mean, her first pro race was Oceanside, which we know is a stacked pro field year after year, and you're racing against the big guns there. I want to say she was like 9th or something there. She was in, and then St. George, another huge stacked field, right? So she hasn't been shying away from racing, at the top, and it totally makes sense, and it's great to see. But yeah, I mean, whatever her and her coach Wes are doing, I think they're doing a great thing, and I'm excited to see what else is to come.
Yeah, and it was only last August that she was on the podium. She won the America's Tri Cup in Edmonton.
Right.
So it's not like it was like long ago.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So
I would say
exciting times ahead for her.
Yeah. She's one of there's a few athletes where I'm like, wait, holy shit, like they can really run. And Lydia's one of them. Danny Keisler out of Germany. Turns out she's like the fastest. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention. She did Vancouver 200, and I saw her at the 200 in and she is like probably the fastest runner on the circuit right now. Like quietly, like nobody's she's just like running everyone down.
She just runs up, and then you see her on the results, and you're like, wow. Where'd she come from?
Where'd she come
But I
from?
think it's because as well the focus is always on, like, they show the top 3. That's what we get to see on the snippets of stuff, and we don't see the battles that are happening further back the field that result in a top 5 or a top 10 finish from somebody. We never really get to see those stories. We only ever really see the top stories, maybe, or somebody who maybe didn't have a great day that should have had a better day and ended up in the top 10 rather than in the top 3. Yeah, but definitely excited to chat to her next week and I get some insight from her. What age is she?
24, 23. I don't know. She's always telling me about the kids. That's how we learn.
If you need to know anything about the young people, she's going to be the guest to do it.
She's going to be like, are we doing this call on TikTok?
Yeah. So wait, Joanne, though, I'm curious because as an announcer, do you have to know all the stories of everyone? Because you were just saying, like, obviously we don't always see the people like battling in 7th and 8th, and I have a hard time keeping track sometimes. I feel like it would be very hard as an announcer to know like who's.
You can't know everything, but you do definitely try and know as much as you can. It depends on the race. World champs are completely different to a regular Ironman race, even a pro series race. We have our first pro series race in the UK in Wales, in Swansea, in 2 weeks' time. So I'm really excited about that because it's a stacked field. First time I'll have worked a non-World Championship pro series race. But you, like, at minimum, you need to know facial recognition of the top 30 men and women and know something about them top line, that if you spot them on a hot corner or you see them somewhere on a run or where somebody puts a microphone in your face, that you're able to say, that X, Y, and Z that they've achieved. Sometimes it's just a top line. Other things, it might just be like, first year as a pro, you'll know the people that are the first year. But then when they come down the finish line, you might get a chance to do some more research on the fly. So you'll have your research, you'll have your notes. But if somebody comes from nowhere, this is my own personal experience. If somebody comes from nowhere down in the middle of the bike course, you're probably going, who is this person? And I only have 2 lines on them. They've only been racing a pro. This is the 3rd pro race. Like, who were they before this? Were they ITU? Were they a cyclist? Were they a swimmer? How have they given us this showcase today? They may or may not end up on the top of the podium in the run course, but it's still good to talk about them again at an awards ceremony or something like that somebody would stand out. Or even as part of the narrative of a race, if the eventual winner isn't featuring really on the bike as having part of the action with this person that's come from nowhere, and maybe they drop off in the run, it's having that conversation with the champion or second or third to say, oh, so and so, put it up to you, did you expect it, kind of thing, or whatever.
Right.
But it's definitely lots and lots of research. It's like studying for a state exam every time you pick up a microphone at a race.
It makes such a big difference though, like when you listen to commentating and you have people who like know the ins and outs and like the side stories, like, oh, this person, things that aren't on like you kind of have to like go deep for. It's, I don't know, it makes it so much more entertaining and you actually have a connection with everybody, which
and
is
that's the
super
thing
cool.
as well about announcing. It isn't just about the athlete and bringing the athlete across the finish line, whether it's a pro or an age grouper. It's actually about keeping the spectators engaged and providing the opportunity for them to be educated about the sport and to learn about these athletes. So, you know, through those athletes, like if somebody wins from nowhere, you hope that they'll end up getting maybe a bigger following, or they might have a better opportunity for something else the next time because we've shared a story about them that people could engage with or identify with. So it's about keeping the spectators there so that every athlete has an amazing finish line experience. There's nothing worse than crossing a finish line with 3 people on the finish line at the end of a race, you know, and it's really, really hard to keep that engagement. But we just have to somehow
See, now I'm like, how do you
when you can. And music plays such a huge part in it as well, but definitely telling the story of the athlete and creating that sense of a story that people can feel part of the journey of the athlete that's crossing the finish line, I think.
Do you feel like you see the up and comers more as a, like, because you're commentating, because you're actually like, I feel like a lot of people are like, well, where did this person come from? But you actually are like probably paying attention to further down the list.
Yeah, you probably are kind of watching and going, oh, wow, they did like a superb run. Where did they come from? There was a race recently, I can't remember who it was. And funny enough, she came from maybe 15th position off the bike and ran herself into top 6th position. And it was just phenomenal. And actually, Simone, you know, Simone, I think she goes to Simone Daly now. That's somebody who I was watching. Now, she's not as an up and coming athlete because she's probably closer to an older aged athlete than being at the start of her career. But I definitely was really impressed by her run. I think she finished in 4th place wherever she was racing at the time. And I thought, oh, her run has definitely improved. So you're not just watching, I suppose, the up and coming athletes, but you're actually watching the whole game to see, like, jeepers, how did Kat Matthews end up leading the swim in Hamburg? You know, are like, oh, who was the girl with Lucy Charles Barclay coming out of the water? And who is she that's going to put it up to Lucy maybe in Kona?
I looked her up.
Yeah, exactly. You know, so you're kind of always watching, you're not just watching the race unfolding in front of you, but you're kind of, when you go back to look at things, you kind of go, oh, she's one that maybe we should look at if you see her on a start line in another race, you know. So, but yeah, I thought this conversation was meant to be about Alyssa.
Yeah, I know. Well, we got sidetracked.
Well, no, I do have a question though, because this might date me a lot, because do they still ask when you register for Ironman? Like, they would give you the questionnaires and they would have the space, like, tell me your story. Like, who would get that? Like, so do you get that? Because even as a pro, I would always put stuff in there. Like, sometimes I'd put fun. Like, depending on my mood, you could get anything from me.
I think it's kind of changed now. So there is, you know, tell me your why or what's your story. But I think it's more connected now, rather than the registration piece. It's actually on your Ironman profile. So that's how they get it. But sometimes, you know, sometimes we would know the athletes. Then, of course, you know, when I was on the circuit, mainly in the UK, you'd recognize a lot of the top age group athletes when they're coming in and coming through. You'd look at the start list and go, oh, we need to watch these guys.
But at least at Kona, when you put someone's number in, that does come up on a little computer screen, and you can see it.
You'd know that as well from commentating.
Yeah.
But that was last year, so I don't know. They may have changed things, or maybe it's the same in the States, but they've changed things in Europe. So yeah, but it is great to have the special stories, because we can then look at different people, and you can track different people that you might want to share a little bit more about, or if somebody's raised a lot of money for charity, or they've come back from, you know, a big illness or from an injury, or they might just have an incredible story to share. You might want to have a chat with them on the finish line if it's a point in the race where they come across the line, maybe it's quiet and there is an opportunity to talk to them, or you know, we might have the opportunity, if we've got a DJ on, like Dane Lee, who I worked with in Bolton, and we had a couple of athletes, and we were able to play their song across the finish line. You know, so that's very cool, you know, that you can select your finish line song and Dane will track them, and he's amazing. So so there's loads of little things that we can do. Yeah.
All right. All right, Joanne, we will go back to talking about Alyssa.
Great. Am I done now?
Great.
Now, can I-
No, I was gonna say, so for this past weekend, then the other races, the other stories beside, like, we're all big Lydia fans. I know Jess Learmouth was another good kind of story in the mix. She got her first podium at Vancouver on T100. I was happy to see. I know Katie was happy to see that.
I have such a bias. I'm like, I'm always cheering for Jess.
But that was her first T100 podium, right?
Yeah, because she had a really strong one in San Francisco, but then her run suffered a bit. And I think the same was in Singapore. Well, yeah, Singapore, that was quite the run. But yeah, so it was good to see her hold on to that podium. And really just at the end was when she got passed, I think, or pretty close.
Yeah, like on the carpet, like where I saw right at the turn or whatever. So that was good to see, and it was good to see. I mean, obviously Taylor Knibb is not like a stranger to winning, but it was good to see her back on top.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's neat to see how I feel like between Taylor and Jess, how they like impacted that race together, because I just heard a snippet of Taylor's interview, but it sounded like she was basically saying that they were trading off between the technical sections and just the strong pulls, which really resonated with me because when we raced in leads with the Brits, it was the same. Like I'm stronger just straight than I am through cornering. And because the Brits are just generally technically better, they would lead through the technical sections and I would just follow like the wheel confidently. So it was funny to hear Taylor then talk about that with Jess for this race too.
Why do you think the Brits are better technically?
Their roads are like skinny and windy.
We have wet weather. We have to have
mean,
good bike handling skills.
I did Ironman UK, and all I know is there's like hedges. There's like lots of blind curves. You're like, you got to know what you're doing on the bike.
When did you do Ironman
Group
UK?
rides more.
Probably 2017, 2018, maybe a while ago.
Wow,
Yeah.
I would have been
Yeah.
there.
It was it was good. It was fun. I liked that race. It's fun.
It's now a 70.3. We had it last weekend, like 2 weekends ago. But
Okay.
I think maybe when you talk about the technical bits, Katie, are you talking about like the hand skills, the bike handling skills, or the cornering, or the ability to like follow your line properly into a corner, or
all of the above.
all of the above? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, but I think it's just more common to ride in groups, do like crits, do like cyclocross. And then also they ride in the rain they're riding in the rain all the time. I think, like Alyssa said, their roads are like quite curvy and blinded and
That's true.
They're not
Mostly
all
when I've
like
done
that though, but they would be.
But when I've done European races, I have been like, oh, Americans are not ready for this riding. Like,
it's a European thing, maybe not so much as like the UK thing.
The Americans are like, I can't ride a tri-bike on this. Like, no way.
The cobbles. Do you remember the cobbles in Paris? It was crazy.
Yeah.
And the rain. Yeah. Anyway.
I've totally forgot what we were talking about. Oh, yeah, but that's why Jess and Taylor went ahead.
I think Julie had a great race as well, though, Kelly.
Julie, yeah. I mean, I think they all had like good races. It was just like, I think like when you put like Jess and Taylor together, they're going to be hard to bike down, right? Like hard to catch.
Yeah.
Because they're both pretty strong. My other favorite story for the weekend, I do have to give a shout out. Jackie Herring, after her mechanical in Hamburg, then flying to Australia and winning Cairns. We haven't decided how to say it.
Cairns.
And she's the first American to win it.
And Matthew Marquardt is the first American ever to win in Cairns for the men.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And
So I think that, the American duo winning over there.
yeah, it was super. Like it was almost retribution for what happened in Hamburg. But she looked like she actually was enjoying the race, the bits I saw.
She also, you have to run like a 250 now at like every Ironman to like podium, which is crazy.
Well, it's like always records now for all the distances. Because even I think Lydia was like a record too, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
I have heard rumors that they're setting up to try and go after like a sub 8 at Roth. Roth. Laura.
Depends on where
and
you're from.
Right. So could be more records in like 2 weeks, whatever that is.
And there's another stacked field racing in Roth. In Roth. It's Challenge Roth or Challenge Roth. You decide.
The Germans told me I'm allowed to say Roth because I was butchering it. So
I actually
like, no,
raced
no,
that
keep it
event.
that
Well, I
way.
participated in it back in 2013. That's a long time ago.
oh, Joanne did her first race this weekend too.
Of the year.
Ooh.
I ripped off the racing plaster with great fun. A sprint race downstream river at 800 and something meters. I probably did 900 because I can't sight in the open water because I haven't been swimming in the open water. And a 22k bike course and just shy of a 5k run. It was great fun. But you know what was the best part of the whole thing? Most people that know me will know I'm very competitive, right? I had definitely have a competitive streak. But because I haven't really been training and I hurt my toes in New Zealand, me and the picket fence had a great fight. The picket fence won. I ended up with 2 fractured toes. Long story, not for tonight. Anyway, I hadn't run like a 5k since February before I realized my toes were fractured. But I left my competitive head at home and it totally changed my nervousness for the swim, which I was most nervous about. I knew I was giving myself permission to walk the run if I had to. If my body wasn't able for the run, I was going to walk it. I just wanted to finish and get the medal. But getting into the river on Sunday morning, I was just bouncing around the place. I was so happy. I had no stress, no pressure. I just kept thinking, this is like a club race. It was a club race, but like a club swim, loads of water safety support. And I just need to get in and float because the river's going to take me downstream, which it kind of did. But do you know what? The difference of racing as an useless age group athlete, I may say, without putting on your competitive head, I had zero expectations. I had the best day. Like I just cheered everybody on it that I'm passing on the bike. Anybody who came past me on the run or was on the out and back on the run, I was like, come on, here we go, let's go. I was probably double jobbing a little bit in terms of cheering people on, but the going into the race with no expectations changed my total outlook and my ability to enjoy it. Is that really strange?
No, that's right. Somebody was actually saying to me this morning, people will golf every weekend and like just for fun, right? But they won't, like, why don't they just do triathlon? Like, you don't have to take every race seriously. You could just like go and do one and then like have fun and social, like, right?
Yeah.
Make it like the same as.
I wasn't able to work my watch properly. Like I didn't work my Garmin. So I had the triathlon thing picked on it. But sure, by the time I pressed the button twice, I was already on the run course. So, and I was only going out in the transition area. So my watch was gone. Like I didn't have numbers. I had to use the normal setup on it. But I didn't care. It was brilliant. It was just, so I would say to anybody who's listening who hasn't done a triathlon or maybe is injured and is coming back to the sport and maybe is a bit competitive and has high expectations of themselves, drop the expectations, increase the fun element, and you'll be hooked again. I can't wait to race again. Cannot wait to race again.
That can be like any level though.
Yeah,
it's really,
really.
like, because I was basing it off of Paula's, like your talk with Paula. Like she was talking about just like finding the fun back again.
Yeah.
I feel like, I don't know. I still think men do that so much better than women. Women's, their like heads get in the way a bit more in my generalization.
Right. Mass generalization.
Yes.
Well, I think people want to do it for fun, but then what I notice a lot when I'm coaching people is I think that they don't realize how much, and Kelly, we talk about this all the time, like no one else is paying attention to you, right? Like, I mean, you're not going to have, people aren't really like scouring race results looking for your name to like see what you did in the sprint try, right? Everyone's pretty self-absorbed, actually. It's just figure out their own lives, you know? And so I think that's why, but it's just so silly because once you do get over the hump, you know, it is like enlightening, right? So, yeah.
Yeah,
I
like,
will laugh, Alyssa, though, because every time someone says that, like, no one cares, I'm like, I am totally the person, though, who, like, looks up people's random race results.
I didn't care when I was racing, but then I looked at my transition times and I was like, oh, you need to cop on. And I looked at my Strava for the sighting on the swim. And if I could just swim in a straight line down the straight river, I'd have probably been 3 minutes faster.
I just learned the form goggles like
Oh, yeah.
give you a line.
Oh.
I think that's a new feature.
I
They
know.
give you like
Does it have to be-
line.
That's what I've heard. I've never used it, but someone was explaining it to us at a camp we were doing, and I was like, well, that would be very helpful.
Because we talked about this at Breakfast
Interesting.
Club today about if we had goggles that you could put the course into and it just keeps you in a line. And I said to one of the guys, I said, design them. He was like, okay, we form already.
Uh-oh, you gotta tell him not to waste his time.
Yeah. Let him know. It's been done, apparently.
Yeah, it probably has to connect to a watch though, right? So I would imagine like the pros and like, World Tri-Band watches for swimmers for the pros. So, but because my understanding is Forum doesn't have GPS built into the goggles, right? It still has to connect to a watch.
I think so.
I came at this with very minimal information to add.
Katie's just spreading rumors about a brand.
Right. No affiliation, by the way.
You're just okay.
I wonder will
Just
somebody
word on the
contact us
street.
to tell us though.
Oh yeah, someone
will.
listening has
Hello.
definitely tried this and can let us know
How it works. Yeah.
how it works. Yeah. All right. Alyssa also did a race this past weekend, which we're going to hear all about. It was not a triathlon. After we take a break, she's going to tell us all about adventure racing.
Hate indoor training? We have great news. We have partnered with Wahoo to offer you a special deal on the Wahoo Kicker Run, a treadmill that will convert even the most diehard treadmill haters. Wahoo, the same company that revolutionized indoor cycling training, has literally broken the treadmill mold with this machine. With its special run-free mode, you can just hop on it and run. It naturally adjusts the pace as you do, just like you would outdoors. Speed up, slow down, it moves with you as you do. It can also simulate the terrain by subtly tilting the angle from side to side, so again you feel like you're really running, not locked into an unnatural pace or place. Or you can lock it in or even program workouts, so it does put you through your training paces, including both inclines and declines. And it's stunningly quiet, even when you're humming along full tilt. Even if you love training outdoors, the Kicker Run is a game changer for year-round training. No more trying to navigate ice-covered roads, awful weather, or worrying about going out in the dark. We love it, and we think you will too, so check it out. Click the link in the show notes and use the code FEISTY, all caps, one word, FEISTY, to get a free Headwind smart fan valued at $300 with the purchase of a Wahoo Kicker Run. That's code FEISTY to get a free fan when you purchase a Wahoo Kicker Run. We will drop a link in the show notes to make it a snap. And right now, Wahoo is running a massive sale of 25% off the Wahoo Kicker Run. So click that link and get yours today.
Hi Feisties, if you've been a podcast listener for a while, you already know how much we love Previnex and their incredible products. And we're excited to share that Previnex is running their biggest sale of the year for Black Friday. You can save up to 30% off site-wide on all products. That includes feisty favorites like Joint Health Plus and Nerify Vegan Protein Powder. So whether you've been thinking about trying Previnex or you're already one of the many listeners seeing amazing results, this is the perfect time to stock up. Early access begins on Monday, November 24th and runs through the holiday weekend. And as always, every Previnex product is backed by their 100% money-back guarantee. If you don't experience real results, you'll get a full refund, no questions asked. No coupon needed, just visit the link in the show notes to save 30% on all Previnex products.
Regular listeners of Feisty Podcasts will not be surprised to learn that for decades, running shoes have been researched, tested, and designed for men. Brands have relied on the shrink it and pink it approach to sell male shoes to female customers. But women's feet differ from men's in numerous ways. We have increased toe splay, higher arches, a more narrow heel, a lower ankle bone, upward angled toenails, and a rounded instep that is smaller in circumference. And because of all those differences, that is why we need HEDAs. HEDAs has unlocked the science behind women's biomechanics through dedicated research and creates running shoes specifically designed for women. So that means a lower heel collar to reduce rubbing on women's ankle bones, plate design to provide heel stability and to decelerate foot impact, rounded instep creating a snug fit through the middle to match the curvature of a woman's foot. Every feature is designed to give you more power and less problems. Breathability that lets your feet breathe easily mile after mile, plus fast-drying tech that doesn't allow sweat to slow you down, adaptive stretch that molds to your foot like it was made just for you. I personally have been running in Heddas for over 2 years, and from the first time I tried them, I knew that there was something different. They really felt like they were made for me. The shoes are super light but provide good cushioning, and they really support my very high arches. I honestly didn't think I would notice the difference after running for so many years in male model shoes, but I really did. So, try Heddas for yourself today. Go to heddas.com and use the code STAYFEISTY for 20% off. That is Stay Feisty for 20% off at heddas.com. The link will, as always, be in the show notes.
All right, Alyssa, what is adventure racing?
So the race is coming up in 2 days. On Saturday it starts. And this particular one is an adventure race, is an expedition adventure race. And so like when expedition is attached to adventure racing, it typically means like multi-day. So adventure races, similar to triathlon, you can have like a sprint adventure race, which is like a 4-hour adventure race. You could have an 8-hour, a 12-hour, 24. Those are pretty much the standard adventure races. Once you get into expedition adventure racing, it's usually discussing like a multi-day thing. And so I'm trying to be as concise as I possibly can. Okay. So you can race, different races will have different rules about like if you could race as a solo or if you could race as a 2-person team or a 3-person team. But typically kind of the premier expedition adventure racing division is a 4-person team. You have to have at least one female. So it has to be a co-ed team. And then you basically, and again, it differs by race, like exactly how much you know ahead of time. But typically the race will kind of give you what's called a schematic for your planning. And there can be a lot of different things in adventure racing, but the main disciplines are trekking/running, if you're able to run with the giant pack on your back and 3 days into the race. Trekking, mountain biking, and paddling are like the 3 main ones, but then they'll often throw like climbing or rappelling in, or this race I'm doing has a stand-up paddleboard leg, right? So, you know, one time, I guess this is still mountain bike, but one time we had to mountain bike through a corn maze, which like I hope to God I never have to do again. So there can be all sorts of literal adventures built into these. And ahead of time, you basically know kind of the legs of the race. So they'll tell you, okay, leg 1 is a 30-mile trek. Leg 2 is a 90-mile bike. Leg 3 is a 25-mile paddle. So that way you can kind of make your little Ziploc baggies like of food, right? And be like, okay, I'm going to be out there for a day in the woods. I need all of this food, right? And then when I transition to biking, this is what I want to have on that really long bike and things like that. And so it's a lot of like logistical planning, a lot of different elements. And then there's generally no like set rest periods in these. So your team is managing their own recovery and rest as whatever strategy they want. So you could try and never sleep and push through for 7 days. Right? You could sleep 5 hours a night if you want to. You have to move fast enough then during the days to like meet the cutoffs and get the checkpoints and things like that. It's all map and compass navigation. So you don't have a cell phone, you have no GPS, like none of that. You're just, using map and compass. And so typically 1 or 2 of the people on your team are the navigator. That's like their main job. So you definitely need someone who is good at navigating. Otherwise, not as fun. Not much. But it's really cool. I mean, it's like a complete 180 from triathlon and stuff. Just kind of that teamwork aspect of it. I mean, yes, we all like to say triathlon's a team sport. You need your community and all of that, right? But at the end of the day, like you're competing. Sure. So it is so different when you need to get 4 people from start to finish versus just yourself. So that's really cool. And then again, I mean, my husband and I came into the sport kind of around COVID time. We were like starting to dabble as races started kind of picking back up. And I mean, Matt and I are pretty fit, right? Like, he was like, had been racing at Kona level. I was racing as a pro. Like, we were pretty fit coming into adventure racing. And that like meant it was helpful, but like it meant very little, right? Which just goes to show kind of how much else there is to the sport versus just pure fitness. I think because I was really fit, I was able to have fun, even though we were really bad at it the first couple of years. So it definitely helped in that aspect. But like, we can still get our butts kicked by teams who, you know, if we were to go do an Ironman, we could probably beat them by like hours, right? Like, it's crazy. So,
Wait,
yeah.
I feel like I need to go back to something. You do this with your husband on the same team.
Yeah. I'm actually really excited because I have been injured for 2 years, or like the loyal IronWomen listeners out there will know. I am just coming back. So this is actually my second race back. I just started to run again in March. And so, and this race is in Vermont. So it's in the state where I live. It was like hanging over my head of like, I got to get fit enough to be able to jump back into this race. And so I haven't been racing with Matt while I've been injured. And so I am really excited. Typically, we are racing together. He's obviously done a bunch of racing while I was injured with other teams, but yeah, we managed to not kill each other while we're out racing. And but we had, before adventure racing, a history when I had done the FKTs, the fastest known time records. Like, Matt was always my crew chief, right? He was like the guy in charge.
There. She just told us what an FKT was. Just threw it out there.
I know, I gave it to you.
Rewind.
My brain was like, should I stick with the acronym so Joanne and Katie still are in the dark about what this is?
Okay, should we put a pin in side here? What is an FKT? Do you want to explain for that?
So FKTs are fastest known times. It is a very niche part of trail running and mountain running. And there are like classic routes. And then there are just kind of routes that people have invented or come up with, generally on trails, but now also like there's plenty of them on roads and things like that too. And it's literally the fastest person from point A to point B. There's different styles you can do it in. You can do it supported, which means you have a full support crew. People are pacing you, carrying all your stuff. You're just going for like the pure physical aspect. You can do it self-supported. So you have to carry all your gear, but you can like stop at a store or cache your gear kind of like along the way, make little drop bags or something for yourself. Or you can do it unsupported, which is where the real crazy people reside in the realm of FKTs. They are the ones who like love suffering more than anything. And you have to carry everything you use from start to finish the whole time. Can't replenish any food, can't take anything from strangers, nothing, none of that. You can refill water from like natural water sources along the way. That's the only thing. So
that is fringe, to be clear. Like that is
very
like, and we're already talking fringe.
Yeah.
There are like famous ones. Like you probably heard like going across the Grand Canyon and back, or like the Appalachian Trail. Like these are like famous ones where people try and do them like as fast as they possibly can.
Yeah.
Like there's a guy right now going after the Appalachian Trail one.
But
He's
Alyssa,
actually
you
tied
have
with Tara.
You have some FKTs, Alyssa. That's going to be my new word of the week. FKTs.
Yes, I do. I have one for at least a little while longer. That's like a considered a classic kind of premier route, which is actually in Vermont, the Long Trail. So it's like a trail that runs from the length of the state just the length of the state, north to south, south to north. It's about 270 miles. And so I've held that since 2018. A few people have tried and no one has broken it yet. I have the women's record. And Tara Dower, who is a friend and a badass ultra runner, and she's like the next generation. I feel like I'm like passing on the torch or something. But she's way better than I ever was at her age too. She set the overall fastest known time. So she beat the men's times too on the entire Appalachian Trail, over 2,000 miles last summer. She is going to go for the Long Trail in August. No. And so, yeah, I mean, I don't want to say the writing's on the wall.
Goodbye?
Anything can happen. But I will say I am cheering wholeheartedly that I think it's like time to, to set that bar a little higher for sure.
Okay.
Okay, I have questions. Like a lot of them. So you like choose when you do it, or it is a race?
So for FKTs, yeah, you choose when you do it. During COVID,
they got popular
They got super popular, and then I mean, this is like a really weird story, but basically New York had this rule that like professional sports could still happen. And so I wrote to like the governor, the mayor's office or something, and was like, do FKTs count as professional sports? I was like, I'm a professional triathlete doing this. And since I had like a professional license, they were like, sure, you can still do this. So I got permission to enter New York, right? I mean, this was like during the lockdown times. And like enter New York, the state, my crew could come. Like I got full permission for everyone to come so I could do this one. And my point of saying this story is it ended up being sort of a race because there was another woman who lived in New York already, who was planning on going for the same record. And her and I found out about each other. And I don't know if we really suggested it or if someone it was kind of like everyone pushed us into this, like, you guys should race. And we were both like, oh, this is really stressful. And like, this actually makes it way more stressful, but cool, thanks. So we ended up starting like on the same day so that the very small FKTs could like follow along neck and neck for the racing aspect of it. And since then, there definitely have been a few other people who have done it that way, which I do think is kind of exciting and cool. But like for the athletes, I do think it's a lot of pressure. So,
So you're
I
not
think
gonna.
Katie was slightly adventure racing are actual races though.
adventure
Okay.
racing is a real
Okay.
race. There's a start,
Okay.
and then you're racing to a finish line. So
It's
in
like
adventure
long course
racing-
and short course.
Yes.
Now we're talking Katie's language.
Yeah.
But okay, so you won't be standing there at the start line of your friend who's gonna go try and take down your FKT to go race her again.
No. One, because I would get left in the dust very quickly. And two, because yes, she can start whenever she wants. Like I'll probably have a general idea when. But yeah, no, it'll be much less formal than a standard
Isn't
race.
Tara also doing Western States or?
And she's like third on the wait list for Hard Rock 100. So she has a lot of running this summer. So, you know, like I said, nothing's set in stone. Maybe I will still be the record holder.
Alyssa, you mentioned that it's expedition adventure racing that you're doing. So your next race, how many days will that be? Or what's the distance?
So you have 7 days to finish the course. And through all the legs, there's a total of 300 miles of biking, 95 miles of trekking, and 75 miles of paddling. And so on Saturday at 8 a.m. it starts. So we like meet in Burlington, Vermont. They're busing us to an unknown location. We have no idea where it starts yet. When you get to the start, they hand out your map book, which is like going to be basically a booklet of 35 maps to get you through the week with all the checkpoints on them that you need to visit. And then they say go. And so then you start. And so teams are then ranked. Like you have to follow the rules, which are always different, you know, various things. But basically you're just going through the checkpoints, through the discipline, getting to the finish line. Teams could definitely finish in like 4.5 days. They don't know, but you have 7 days to complete the course, and it's ranked by like teams that get all the checkpoints, fastest to slowest, and then say no team gets all the checkpoints. Then they go to like teams that only missed one checkpoint and fastest to slowest, things like that.
And so every member of your team has to complete every aspect of it. It's not like a relay where, excuse me, you might do like 60 miles of the 300-mile bike race. Everybody
Right,
has to complete
everyone,
the whole
you
thing.
stay together the whole time. This one, they did warn us. At one point, you will have a small, like, little relay where everyone has to do 2 to 3 miles on their own, which is terrifying because the other 3 people on my team are all very good navigators, and I'm a little rusty, let's say. So usually when that happens, they have one very easy leg that's like, follow this trail and you will get to the checkpoint. So keep our fingers crossed for that.
And then do you camp, or what do you do for staying overnight, or how does that work? Sorry, Katie, I'm asking all the questions. I'm going to stick quiet after.
Yeah, I told you I had a lot, and you're just jumping in.
So for sleeping, it depends. So like I did one race in Scotland a couple years ago with a team that, you know, we wanted to have fun. We wanted to see a lot of Scotland. Like we wanted to just have a good time. And so we slept in a hotel. We slept in an Airbnb. We like, you know, we didn't sleep for a long time in the hotel, but like for a few hours we got a bed, right? And then we did sleep like on the ground one time. So This race, we're trying to be more competitive, so we will probably do a lot of dirt sleeping. You carry like a bivy as part of your mandatory gear, which is basically like a potato chip bag, like a emergency blanket that is like a sleeping bag. And so you climb into that. We might carry like those blow up sleeping pads at one point to try and make it a little bit more comfortable. But the sleeping is, unless you happen to like come upon this like perfect, I don't know, hostel or Airbnb or something where you could like just go right into a bed, it just takes a lot of time to find comfortable sleeping. So usually you end up just sleeping on a flat spot in the woods.
So do you feel competitive like before these races of like when you know it, you have to be finished in 7 days? Are you like, well, I'm going to try to do it in 3? Or
so not in that sense necessarily, but it's a small community. So there are probably about 5 kind of world-class, very competitive, very experienced, expedition adventure racing teams. There's 30 teams overall, and plenty of them have a lot of experience too. But, I would say it would be exciting for me, and like what gets me competitive about this sport is thinking about, can we match the strategy of those top teams? Can we match the speed of them, right? Like, can we kind of be in the same race that they're in and mix things up a little bit?
Them? You
could
see them during the race?
You totally could, or you could see no one for 3 days, except for like humans out living their daily lives.
Wait, how do you train for this? Besides like general fitness, like how do you train?
Yeah, so a lot of getting used to the pack aspect, like being able to carry a pack that's pretty heavy at times is really important, and being able to bike with that pack for long distances. This one being in Vermont, like has a ton of elevation gain, both on foot and on bike. So I've done a lot more riding than time on feet, just out of time of what I had to do, but like getting used to that. So it's kind of similar to any sort of training, but I think in general, you're doing more aerobic, like long days of just getting used to grinding. And then some sport specific things like, well, paddling. If you practice paddling, that helps. But then being really comfortable off trail. So a lot of the time on foot, you're not on trail. You're just like going blindly bushwhacking in the woods. And that's really hard. It's really hard on your feet. It's really hard, like just in general. So getting comfortable, not always tripping on things, like going down steep stuff, going down really, going up really steep stuff that is like a huge skill. And it's crazy how fast some of these people can move off trail in the woods. And so the more you can do that, like the better off you are in the sport, for sure.
You and I were talking, I mean, this is different, but you did the Barclays Marathon, and you and I were talking one time about how people like wildly underestimate like how fast those runners are.
Yeah, I mean, they're running like regular speeds just through the woods blindly, right? And it's like, and I think it must be a mental block because for a lot of us, because I just always think of everything that could be down in front of you that you could be tripping over, or rolling your ankle on or whatever. And I think some people just don't think like that, right? They just like go as fast as they can. So trying to be more like that is really helpful.
And how do you, sorry, I'm the fastest thing we're in. How do you recover between days? Because if you're doing an awful lot of, say, like the off trail trekking, uphill and downhill, your quads are going to be absolutely shot. And then you have to get on your bike.
Yeah. So you basically don't, you hope they recover while you're doing the next thing. But like, I mean, it stinks. Like you'll go from like a, 20-hour trek into a 10-hour stuck in a pack raft paddling and like not able to move your legs. And like, you feel awful, right? But like, it's just like anything. It generally always gets better. You have to be really good at nutrition and hydration. And like, you just are suffering with your friends. Like the people who do this kind of thing solo are just, I mean, it's super impressive that they can just keep their head on straight and like not get bogged down by how bad you feel sometimes, because it is like, it can be all consuming. But when you're together, the team, hopefully people are feeling good enough to like laugh about it a little bit, I guess. But
can I say,
I mean, you get slower as you go on, you just get more tired. And then, but sometimes it turns around. Then you have like a few hours where you feel great, right? And you're like, oh, maybe it was the breakfast sandwich we ate at the gas station or something. I don't know.
It cracks me up though that you keep being like, oh no, those people are crazy. It reminds me when I like was listening to this war reporter who kept being like, oh no, those people over there are the crazy ones.
Yeah. Don't look at me. Look at them.
Well, okay, so you do just meander like in and out of like seeing people then. So like we could see you somewhere just like in a race.
For sure, yeah. And so there's like GPS tracking. They are probably better tracking than like any triathlon's been able to figure out yet. And so each team has their tracker, so they know like, and the public knows where everyone is. These races, there is like an Adventure Racing World Series, have rules. So like people can't, like our friends can't just show up and give us stuff, right? You can't accept help and things like that. But there are TAs, which is transition areas. So similar to triathlon, where they'll bring your bike or they'll bring your paddle gear or whatever you're going to next to the location where the TA is. And then, and like public and media and stuff can be there. But when you're biking 90 miles, it's kind of like a training ride. Like if you're going through a town and you need to refill bottles, you'll stop at the gas station or stop at like the spigot on the side of the church or whatever. And so you totally see people and like everyone wants to know what the heck you guys are doing, because you wear these little bibs kind of. So like your team is matching, and I mean, you just look at it, you have like lights attached to you all over you. You're like, yeah, I mean, it's always ridiculous looking. You stand out very easily in a crowd. And so people definitely want to know what the heck you're doing.
Okay, so is this more fun than triathlon?
It's just so different, especially in the way I've raced it so far. Like Matt and I would love to get to like a really competitive point at this, you know, because like when I raced triathlon, until Joanne gave her spiel about jumping into races for fun and not having expectations, it would be like competitive Alyssa is here to race, right? Like that's the mindset. So this is much more fun because it is more relaxed and just having teammates, right? But it's different because like when you race really hard and you have a good race, that's really fun too, right? Like, so it's a different kind of fun for sure. But if you want to like see the nooks and crannies of different parts of the world or the US, like adventure racing can be very, very fun.
Well, and it has to be a bit scary too to just like go out into the woods.
And you're like climbing mountains. Sometimes there's exposure and it's just dark. You have no idea where you are, you know, like it can, again, I'm grateful all the time. It's a team sport, but like there are times when even in the dark, when you have your headlamps on, like you lose sight of people and you're like, guys, wait, where are you? You realize quickly how fast, you know, like it would get really scary to be there alone.
So what is
my brain would wander so much.
I mean, like we're like just peppering you with questions now too. I'm like, okay, so
I'm actually staying quiet for a change.
what is, because like we've talked about all your different races over the years. What's the hardest one you've done out of all the different things?
Barkley is definitely the hard. Like, yeah, that is definitely the hardest. Had I been able to complete the course, my loop and a third or whatever that I did was like really, really hard. I think. Like, yeah, for people who complete that, it is like next level. Hopefully everyone understands that. Yeah.
You guys know what Barclays is, right?
Really?
Yeah.
I was just about to Google.
You're gonna Google Barclays. It's the it's the famous 100-miler that like you do in loops and you have to like self-navigate and there's no trail and it's like through the woods outside. What is it, Tennessee?
Yeah. We could probably get KBN because you know have the whole Olympian thing. I'm sure that would help your resume. I give you the secrets of how to get in. We'll get you there.
When you first started talking, it was taking me back to when Tommy got invited to the Spartan World Championships in Tahoe, because they invited like professionals to basically show that they had nothing on like the Spartan racers. And Tommy, he struggled, and he was on the like on the stream he was finishing like right as the first female was finishing, and he's just like creeping in the background. Like it was the most anticlimactic finish I've ever seen in my life. But this is what I was thinking about, and then I'm not sure this sport is for me based off like you have to be so brave. I'm like listening to you talk and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I would just be scared the whole time.
Yeah.
I think I'm with you, Izzy. Yeah, once you do it, and like I've been super fortunate, the community is really, really, really welcoming. And so I first started getting into it because I needed to learn some of this so that I could race Barkley, and I wanted to be able to do that. And so, I mean, I've had just so many people through the years take me in and like let me join the, you know, let our team join up with their team so we could learn things and like just teach us about gear, loan us gear, right? Like, I mean, it's probably the ones for other than triathlon that have like more gear than triathlon somehow, right?
I was thinking about that when you're talking.
So, I mean, the community is so welcoming, and they just are so helpful and want it to be like, I mean, it's, you know, a similar problem to triathlon. It's not super accessible. And so they are trying to work on a lot of that. And they've actually done an amazing job, especially with female participation in the sport. The Women of AR group, for women out there who are listening and kind of like, maybe this is like growing, you know, some sort of thought in your brain that you would like to try that. Join the Women of AR group on Facebook. Very supportive community. There's often women who are inviting people who have never raced to like race with them and stuff like that. So
I will say we also we've had like some feisty audience that is putting out an all women's one of these in Australia this summer. If you happen to be in Australia, there's it's part of the Adventure Racing World Series, but yeah, it's an all women's. So
yeah, I mean, it's really cool. The women's participation is like, I think they have done a better job in the short time that they've been working on it than I saw like a lot with like triathlon stuff. Like triathlon, I feel like kept hitting that brick wall, right? Of just like, what are we doing? You know, is this really helpful? And like, yeah, I just, in the handful of years I've been in adventure racing, it just has been really cool to see that grow.
You know what else, like weirdly, has like swim run has also had like a lot of women. Like it's actually very close to 50-50, which is interesting.
Yeah. Yep.
So what's the ultimate goal then, Alyssa? What would be if you were to look back in 5 years' time at what you achieved adventure racing, what would the number one goal be?
Oh, goodness. For just in general or
I don't know. You can take the question whatever way you would like.
You know, I think I would like to podium at like one of these bigger expedition races for sure. And then kind of like a broader goal with the sport is kind of to Katie's thing about like being brave, right? Like to keep giving myself more confidence and bravery to get outside. I mean, there's just so many fun places. And now that I'm not glued to my pro tri schedule, right? It's like there's so much to do, and like waiting on having someone to go with me, or like waiting, you know, just being able to kind of grab it by the horns and say like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to put the pieces together. I'm confident and strong enough to do these adventures and stuff like that. I think adventure racing is giving me a lot of that confidence and the tools to be able to do that down the line.
You know, would you say it's giving you more freedom?
Yeah. And training freedom. It's like, I mean, you can spin anything into adventure racing. Training. Anything you want. This could be an adventure race, you know, but it's like, you don't have to be quite as structured to be building like the engine that you need for the sport. Whereas triathlon, I think to try and race at the pointy end, like you got to do the work, you know, and there's not a lot of leeway there to also be doing a lot of fun stuff. So for sure, I think I found a lot more freedom in this.
I was laughing at the confidence. I like to call that dude level confidence. You need dude level confidence just to like go out.
Yeah, be like, I can go in the woods. Sure. I can do
I can enter the Spartan World Championships. Why not?
Yeah, I have such trust issues. So it would be like me questioning someone, be like, let's go this way. I'm like, are you sure? Even though I have no idea. Like,
yeah, I would say since I'm really not helpful at the navigation, I've learned very quickly. You just go with it, and like you have to be like, if there's a mistake, you're like, oh, all right, we're going back, you know, and like you can't. Yeah, I think that was a hard thing to accept. You can't be like angry about mistakes when you're not holding the map or.
But how do you manage then the team dynamic? Because like within your team, is there a very strong leader in the team who kind of maybe dictates what's happening, or whether we go this way or we don't go that way? And if you don't agree with what the team leader is saying, or the most vocal person on the team, how do you manage that relationship for 7 days of living in each other's pockets, trying to paddle, trail, bike? I can't even remember what else you do. Sleep, not eat.
I mean, I think you figure out quickly like the people you want to race with, first of all, you know? And so, you know, typically you won't jump into a 7-day race with people that are brand new teammates. And so you learn in like a 24-hour race that you didn't want to spend 7 days in the woods with this person. And then you kind of like look for the puzzle pieces of the team, right? You want someone who is maybe more of that leader position. You want a super positive person. You want a person who's like, logistical and like keeping track of gear and things like that, right? There's so many jobs that could be going on. And then you all have to accept a role. Like if you're not the lead navigator at the time, then you can, you provide the backup nav, but like you're not gonna be questioning things and stuff like that. And then luckily the more you race, the more you realize like mistakes get made. And I think the less you get angry about it, you just are like, okay, we figure this out like quick, like figuring out your mistakes as quick as you can and fixing them in a way that doesn't eat a lot of time, right? Because it's pretty hard to have a perfect 7-day race.
What's your role?
What's your role? That's a good question.
Oh, good question.
My role in this race coming up is to make sure everyone's eating and drinking. So every 15 minutes or so, you get to hear from me to remind you of that. And I am like the timekeeper and the distance estimator. So if the navigator is like, we're going north for 400 meters, I'm like, north 400 meters. And I'm pretty good at pace counting. And so I know like my steps in the wood, like how many steps to take to get 400 meters. So I am going to be keeping track of that and like telling the team, okay, we've gone 200 meters, 300 meters, 400 meters. And so that's my duty.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
Cool.
So
We need a part 2 for this.
I know.
Yeah,
I
I
was
think
saying,
so. After the race.
I was like, we have to wrap. I know, like, Katie has childcare. I'm pretty sure somebody's waiting downstairs for me to take my kid. But I feel like everyone has so many more questions. So.
And actually, we get the listeners. If we're going to do part 2, let's get the listeners to send us in some questions as well, because then Katie can ask all of the questions.
I know. I like on all of it, from like logistics to the team dynamic to the husband. Like, I want to know the biggest fallout you and like. I like want to know.
think we all wanna
the
know
drama that happens on this.
I mean, it sounds so bad, but I don't think we really fight when we're out there, because it's like, I think you just realize like, what is that going to accomplish, right? And it's just so easy to like let it go, but
Not even in the beginning though.
I could see, like, I could
no,
see
because
that,
I was
though.
so clueless in the beginning, right?
Okay.
But for sure, there's like things that get stuck in my brain of like, sometimes when Matt's really tired, we just like wander around in the woods in a circle, right? And so like, I might not be like saying to him, like the thing that would probably start the fight would be like, are we just wandering in a circle again because it's 2 a.m. and you're tired, right? Like, so I know not to say that. I know to be like, hey, should someone else take the maps, or like who's doing backup nav, right? Or something like that. So like, yeah, I feel like you just have to kind of
I also feel like
think
you
about
guys
it
are both
that
like very
way.
positive. Like, there are like, I don't think me and Steve would survive this. Like, it would not.
The couples therapy
Right.
of adventure racing.
To be continued.
Right. All right, we should wrap up. Alyssa, what has been like your craziest mistake then so far in adventure racing?
Oh, I mean, we've just gotten really lost before. Like, really, like you spend 2 hours looking for a point and it's just nowhere, right? I mean, you're really lost. But to date, like knock on wood, I haven't had anything that was a really weird encounter or anything like that. It's just getting like really, really lost. Okay. Yeah.
Can I ask
But eventually you get
one
found.
more?
Eventually you always come out.
Sure, Katie, you can ask one more.
Thanks. Okay, so what's like the opposite? Like, when's a race you think of like you hit like flow state, or like it went too good that you were just like like, whoa, never expected that.
Yeah, one of our early races, I think we did like an 8-hour, which I think in the shorter races, our fitness levels do help a lot more, right? Because it is like more about speed. And so, yeah, and this was like a long time ago. We'll have moments of flow state in like other things, but the long ones, it's really hard to just like perpetually be in that state. So I think it just doesn't happen as much. But we did do like a short 8-hour one time that was just like, our fitness felt really strong. We hit all the nav points, and not doing, I think the navigators probably get more into like a flow state too when they're like really nailing like the feel of the woods, probably is what they would say. But like when you have no idea where you're going, you're just following along. You're just like, okay. All right. Like, have your snacks, guys, right?
Eat up.
Yeah. Don't forget to drink. Okay.
Oh man.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. Alyssa's gonna have to come back at some point here. People sending your questions about adventure racing, and we didn't even get to coming back from injury for 2 years. So
Oh, yeah?
Alyssa's gonna have to come
Well,
back.
Hopefully that chapter is well behind. But
I know,
yeah, I'll
and
come
I-
back anytime. I'm going after this. My sights will be set on the spine race for next January. So that's going to be my big project for the next.
Are you coming to the
months or
UK
so?
to do the Montans? Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm going to mention her, Lucy Gossage, who won the spine race this year, actually won a 100-mile race in the UK this weekend. It's like a new course record. But she's 14-time Ironman champion. Absolutely incredible. So I got my plug in for Lucy Gossage because I'm a big fan. But that's amazing that you're coming to the UK. I shall connect you and Lucy up.
So I talked to Lucy a bit, but she was the one that finally I was like, okay, watching her do it, I was like, I gotta put my name in. And then I was supposed to do it a couple years ago, and they let me kind of enter now that I'm healthy again. So I'm so excited.
All right.
Oh,
All right. And actually, this
We
will
might
be
have to do
interesting.
it as part of the Hill Feisty recording.
Oh, yeah. Come find me out there.
All right, then we'll have Alyssa back to talk all things, all crazy things.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us, Alyssa, and answering all our questions.
Thanks. It's so good to see everyone and chat.